Welcome to Brother Owl's Garden. I'm Brian, and I honor your presence here today. And I also honor the presence today of Maida Gale, who is also known as Maida Marigold. How are you, Maida?
Hi, Brian. I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for joining us today. Maida was born in Canada, and she's now living in Thailand, which is how I came to know her. And well, I think Maida is just one of those beautiful souls with nothing but beautiful, loving energy to share, and we'll be talking about that with her today. Maida spends her life in healing, in art, in jewelry making, in music, in painting. She's just a wellspring of creativity and talent and wonderful divine healing energy. She first got involved with music, the music aspect of her life, first at her local church, which then grew into singing for some bands and even starting her own band and doing competitions and things like that. And now Maida spends her divine gift of energy and healing in something that she likes to call vocal alchemy. And I hand it over to you, Maida. What is vocal alchemy? Fill us in.
Great. Well, Brian, I just want to first say thank you for having me on your show. It's an honor to even get to know you this past year. I think it's been since I've met you, so I'm truly honored. So thank you so much.
Sure.
And in terms of vocal alchemy, yes, I did start singing at my local church when I was younger, but if you ask my mom, I probably started singing in the crib on my own. My parents often tell me that they wouldn't ever have to the crib in the mornings because I woke up and I would just be na 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 singing to myself. And so I think since then, my body, my voice knew that that's what it needed in this lifetime. So I've been on a really long journey with my voice, and it's been a very beautiful one, I think, and um, has not come without its hardships. But I think those are all needed for me to get to where I am now. And so um, I used to use my voice to perform, to sing for the church, for my relatives, and then got involved with the Royal Conservatory of Music and did lots of competitions there from when I was younger. Um, Sang at weddings, different events, joined choirs, had that all happening. And then when I moved abroad, started singing at different bars and then started a band. And so it was this thing that I always had. It was always there, this voice of mine. Everyone would always, comment and love to hear me sing. And so it just was something that was just kind of always there. I knew I had it, and it was there for me to entertain other people. That was what its purpose was. And so here I am living abroad and working full time, and then also learning how to paint and then singing, and it all of a sudden got to be a lot. So I was giving so much of my voice and myself to to others, and then as sort of it became work, as you would say. And I I feel like at that time wasn't respecting or seeing or understanding what it was that I had. I almost saw it as a burden sometimes too, kind of like, here, monkey, go. I don't know
Yeah,
how else to describe it, but it was
yeah,
like, oh, there's Maida, the girl with the voice, sing. It was often very blatant like that, even at school. I remember in high school, it was like, oh, there's that girl that can sing, Maida, sing something. Or even some relatives like, sing. And it was like, I felt nobody could really ever see me. And then when I got involved in these different bands or was just singing to perform, it was often singing songs that I didn't connect with or writing in ways I didn't connect with. And so all of that kind of like, plus other things that were happening in my life, really affected actually my physical health. And I was 26 at the time, and I had a TIA stroke, that affected the whole left side of my body. So I woke up one morning. I was in California at the time, and I couldn't feel anything at all. And I just thought, okay, my arm's asleep. So then I go to the bathroom and then I can't feel the toilet paper. And then all of a sudden, like, I just drop to the ground and I can't walk. And my partner at the time, I'm like, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. And luckily, his mom was in the house at the time, and she looked straight into my eyes and she said, she's having a stroke. We have to go to the hospital right now. And so we went, and the doctors did confirm that I had a stroke, and it missed the cognitive part of my brain so that it didn't affect my speech, but my nervous system just was shot after that for many years afterwards. So I recovered, and then after that just had so much nerve pain, and then had paranoia that every little thing that was happening in my body was another stroke. And so I had insomnia, and I just, it just was like down spiraling from, I was burning out, and this is one way my body was like, hey, you gotta pay attention. And then it wasn't until, I mean, I found yoga, I found meditation and all these things, but it wasn't until I was in Hong Kong, um, living, in a tiny apartment with my partner at the time, that I found, there were some Indian masters that had a yoga studio across the street from me, and they had a sound healing session there, and it was using a Tibetan bowl. So I had seen these things before, but never really was interested or thought. I was taking what the doctors gave me, like Xanax, all these, melatonin, so many prescription drugs for me to be able to calm my system down and go to sleep, because I wasn't sleeping for so long. And so I was like, maybe I should just check this sound healing thing out. And I went, and I remember the first night I went to the session, I went home and I slept like a baby. My pain in my body had, like, almost like instantaneously disappeared. And I couldn't believe it. And of course, like, little bits keep coming back, but I kept going back to these sound healing sessions. And so, long story short, I that was where it was started. And I know I had this whole journey with the sound healing bowls when I went to India. I found them there as well, and yeah, it's it's been a journey since then. So it's played a huge part in my healing. And so for me now, realizing that the bowls helped me to understand that the sound coming from my own body was going to be able to heal me too. But that didn't come till much later in India. So yeah, that's where it started, and that's what it means for me. Yeah.
Well, first of all, thank you, Maida, for sharing so freely of what I can obviously see was a very, very challenging and difficult and very personal, but also very meaningful and transformative phase of your life. And it just reminds me of a few different quotes. Khalil Gibran, when he spoke of, he was referring to beautiful souls, and he said, the most beautiful souls I've ever encountered in my life have been covered in scars.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you are living proof that some of these episodes of scarring that we have in our life, although they hurt at that time, they are difficult at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Later, after we have moved through them and grown out of them, we can look back and see them, as Mary Oliver would say, a box of darkness. This too is a gift.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's almost a classical transition. This tremendous crisis strikes a person, and then what? Well,
Mm-hmm.
if it doesn't end them, it may completely remake them and set them on their true destined path, which,
Mm-hmm.
as you have been gradually coming to realize, in an unfolding way, that your gift is your voice. But it sounds to me, if I could say this, like maybe your early applications of that gift were not working for you. Yes, I have this gift of voice and I can sing, but if I put it here or use it that way, this is not, it doesn't feel right, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's amazing. After I had experienced that in Hong Kong, I then came across the bulls again, as I said, in India when I was traveling there afterwards, and that was the first time I heard someone else sing with the bulls, and
Uh-huh.
then when it was like, oh, and I remember just in that being in that circle, like in that session, the sound bath, and then hearing the voice start. I couldn't see anything, and my eyes were closed. I just started crying and crying and crying, and then they said, "Welcome home." And that's, man, I can even feel it still now till this day. It was like, oh, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why this is here. And it was like everything I ever needed was like
Mm.
here already, and it's still there. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No,
Whoa.
no, no.
Yeah.
No, it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and it's real, and it's organic,
Yeah.
and it's unrehearsed, and it's wonderful. You know,
Yeah.
when
So,
when we step into our true being,
mhm,
everything
mhm.
else falls off of us, and tears are cleansing. So
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So that was just the first nudge of like spirit being like, hey, like it's here for you. It's here to heal everything that you've gone through, not just the physical, but the emotional, the mental, everything that you've been through up until this point. It's not in India, it's not in Hong Kong, it's not in any other country, it's not in this instrument, it's not in this, it's here. And
yeah.
that was profound, like just profound for me. And the first time I think I applied it was in, in the yoga session that I was learning how to teach yoga at the time, and we had our test, and I thought, maybe let me just try to use my voice now to not only help others around me but myself, to see what happens. And so I'm practicing in my bathroom for my test, the session, and I'm realizing that like it's just soothing my whole body when I'm using it for this purpose. Not like I'm going to think about these lyrics that I need to sing and it's this note and that note, but just sing for nobody else other than me. Nobody else is hearing me. What is that actually doing to my body? And my I used to have such intense pain on my shoulders, and it was like it just leaves,
Yep.
and it's like, now I have this, what am I going to do with this? I can't, sure, I can keep it to myself, but this is a gift to be shared. And it no longer became an ego thing, and no longer became like, I'm going to sing at this blah 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 and I'm going to win first place. It was like, let me share with you something that's really helped me. And I'm like, I'm the last one to be like, I'm a healer, blah blah blah, but it's just more of like, this really helped me. And I don't know how, I don't know the science behind it. I can't tell you that, vibrations work, humans, blah blah blah, blah, atoms. I don't know any of that. All I know is what I've experienced, and that's what I offer to anyone that's open to receiving it now. So
Well,
yeah.
Maida, what you're sharing is very much appreciated and respected and cherished and meaningful and valuable. And
Thank you.
I love the story of how, the transition, as I said before, how you were applying your gift, you know, using it for the performances and the entertainment stuff and all that. That also was a gift. That was a
Yep.
lesson. It was
Yep.
showing you, you see these,
Mhm.
not them. Now you know
Mhm.
what they feel like, and now you know why not them. You
Yeah.
can sing a
Yeah.
song in the car or something all day long, but that's not what your gift is for. And when
Mhm.
you found, it sounds to me, when you found what your gift is for, all of a sudden, everything just came into alignment for you. The,
Yeah.
the meaningfulness of
Mhm.
the gift and the bliss of giving the gift. And
Mhm.
also, it, as St. Francis said, it is in giving that we receive. So,
Mhm.
when you're giving of your gift to others, it's always two-way. It's
Mhm.
always, you can't give of yourself without receiving some benefit, some blessing in return.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Now, Maida, how do you go about, like, if somebody were to say to you, I would like to engage you for a
Mhm.
session with your vocal alchemy? What do you do? What
Uh,
happens? Walk us through what.
yeah. So at the moment, I'm doing sessions in person, And I just am offering space for anyone to share what they're going through. And I'm not like a credited therapist or anything like that, but I offer space to allow emotional release, because often it's the emotions that we keep inside that are causing any physical pain or mental pain. So it's almost like a time for release and relief. So you would come into a session with me and, lie on your back, and then I use my intuition to sing the notes and the frequencies that I feel are aligned to help ease and soothe the pain. And that's just as simple as it is. I sometimes sit here and think like, oh, you're a fraud. What are you doing, Maida? Blah blah blah. But if it's just simple as we respond as humans to music, to sound, that's how the world began. This universe began, was a sound, a vibration, and it's no question that when these sounds are aligned with the intention to help and to heal, that it will. And so my offering is this, and anyone who is open to receiving it as well, of course.
Maida, let me that bit that you just shared with us just like exploded with things I want to say. Well, you made me think of this or that.
Yeah.
First of you mentioned, oh well, I don't have any certain accreditation for this. Personally, I don't think people who understand these things care. Healing
Yeah.
is not a meritocracy, okay?
Hmm.
And as far as, oh, well, what is the scientific? You know what? Science can take as long as it wants, as far as I'm concerned, by its own models and modes to catch up to what mystics and healers already know and have already known for so long, and are wise enough to not meddle and mess it all up with applying the intellect to it too much, because the intellect, great tool that it is not the tool to understand these kind of things. If it works, it works. It's as simple as that. And the second thing is I love that you said, you kind of just intuit what tone or frequency is needed for the person in front of you for their personal frequency of healing, and etc. This is precisely what Gita Ben David does with what she calls the note from heaven, which is another episode. So someone who you don't know, that doesn't know you, who is doing something similar to what you're doing, you've arrived at a same realization, and without any need for science and meritocracy and all that. And I would also like to just share just a little snapshot. Some months ago, I was in a bad way, and I sensed that what I needed was the nurturing, gentle, nourishing essence of the sacred feminine. And I said, Maida, whatever it takes to make a session with you happen, can we do that? Let's do that. And I did have a session with Maida's vocal alchemy, and it was wonderful, wonderful for calming and de-stressing and purging a lot of the anxiety that I had pent up also in my neck and shoulders, especially. Very common place for that energy to be trapped. And also, just Maida knows I've said this to her before, but I'm sharing it with our listeners, our viewers. During that session, I also was able to see in the psychic realm somehow. I was able to see Maida as what I would say is a First Nations medicine woman in Canada, in Southwest Canada. And to be honest with you, I don't think I knew you were born in Canada, or anyway. Even when you mentioned it earlier to me today, I had forgotten it. It is not important to me as a who you are kind of a tidbit. But when you were doing that session for me, the energy that you were conducting to me carried with it that information in the form of that vision. And I can't tell you exactly what year or what tribe or whatever, but I know generally where I saw you, somewhere near Banff, near Lake Rundle, around there in Southwest Canada. And you were a First Nations medicine woman. You were a medicine woman. That was the energy I got And whether that was past life or whether that was just archetypal, I don't want to overly intellectualize it, but that's what I got from what you from the energy that you were transmitting to me.
Yeah,
And it was wonderful. So I wanted to share that with you, that's what came through to me during that session, and I just always remember you within that context, Maida.
Yeah, it's definitely a familiar feeling when I use my voice for these purposes. I remember the first time I was asked to join a sound journey healing session here in Chiang Mai, and actually a little bit outside of Chiang Mai. And at the time I was like, who am I to do this? I feel super inadequate. But then, the people I was playing with fully trusted me and said, we're not even going to rehearse. You just do. And so with full trust went in on with it, and all of a sudden it was as if I was doing something I've done for many, many, many years. And it was like I remember just like, singing over everyone that was in this session who was lying down, receiving these sounds and these healing vibrations. And I just knew that my voice, I needed to sing this way for this person. I needed to sing over here on this person. And the feedback I received after that, people were like, who was that voice? We have no idea. And then someone had come up to me afterwards, and it was completely like just so healing, the same way that I felt with my own voice. I thought, wow, it's actually doing the same thing to other people. And so I got to get out of my own way, because this needs to help others out there. And so this is what I feel is a calling for me, and to just share this with everyone. And so that's the journey that I'm on now, and I'm going to be continuing to learn through the whole process. But I just remember that feeling. It was, this is why I'm here. That's why I'm placed on this earth. And it just clicked. And so here I am now.
It just sets everything into place. And I love that you used the phrase, get out of your own way, because for some people, they may have been, speaking that phrase for many years, but I had actually never heard that phrase until it came to me during a dark night of the soul around 2018, that it was the worst, which means it was the best. And I realized things come to you, and maybe they came to somebody else 1,000 years before you, and you could find a quote that somebody said it before you and all that. It's okay. We're all drawing from the same pool of wisdom if we are accessing it. And I remember saying to my brother Bob, I said, Bob, it's so plain as day. I have to get out of my own way. Yeah. And it just became like this phrase, like, oh my gosh, that's a thing. Yeah. Like, that's a whole principle. I had been blind to that. And now I so understand. And it's something that we eventually have to, I came to that realization on my own, step by step. When I was ready to receive it, it came to me. And it's when you can get out of your own way and let divinity and let your gifts flow through you. It's like the book that I'm always working on. In the beginning, I started off with, well, I already know what the title is, and now it's almost like I just have to make the book fit what I know the title is. And then as I began letting the book happen, right? Yeah. I realized that I sensed from the beginning, I know that can't be right, but I've already picked out the title. Well, the title has been revealed to me. 2 different levels of different is what the title is going to be, because I finally realized, get out of your own way and let the book be birthed through you. Let the book, show up and tell you its name. Yeah. That's how it is. That's very divine feminine to allow, to, all this releasing and allowing and trusting and flowing is all divine feminine stuff. And you embody that. And that's why I felt when I was with you at that last occasion, I said, I'm going to ask her if she'll do this for me, because the medicine I know that I need right now is the nurturing of divine feminine. So, Maida, I can't help but think, as a Reiki practitioner, that what you're doing just so happens to flow perfectly with Reiki. If you ever happen to do, not that you even need to you know, enter into that modality, but they would just be handing off.
Yeah.
And being that I do remote Reiki, whether I do it on my own time or I do it on a formal session online, it makes me wonder, do you do your sessions online? Like, is that a possible application of your gift, or how's that work?
Yeah, I mean that's the goal, at least for the way the world is going now. I would love to be able to share this with not just the people in my local communities, but also throughout the world. So I am in the process of gathering equipment and microphones that will help in this process. And so if you were to book a session with me online, just all you would need is headphones, probably usually better over the ears, and a place to lie down in the dark and mostly undisturbed, so not so much outside noise, so that we could really focus and go in. So that's all you would really need. And when that becomes available, I will definitely let you know. I have a website that you can go to. That's Marigold.com, and yeah, we can chat there, but also just we can chat casually if you find me on any social media handles as well.
All right, so MaidaMarigold.com, and as always, I'll put Maida's link in the description.
Yeah.
So if somebody just has, you know, a decent pair of headphones, a comfortable place to lie down, shut off the lights, shut out the world. We don't want screaming babies, barking dogs, fire trucks.
Yeah. It's kind of similar to if you're familiar with binaural beats. After I found the sound healing bowls, I looked into binaural beats, and those are some of the things that's really helped me as well too. So in the future, I hope to just provide these tracks, I guess, for people, or meditations for people to play on their own time, using my vocals.
Aha. Okay. So recording sessions that people can then access at their own convenience is another option. Okay. Awesome. So for those who might be interested in that, it's MaidaMarigold.com, and we'll post that in the description. Now, I don't know how well our interwebs connection here is going to work, or how microphones are going to cooperate, but do you think that you could just give us a little snapshot? I know it's not a full session, of course, but just a snapshot taste of what it is that you offer in your healing sessions, Maida?
Yeah, definitely. Normally I would use a bowl, but I think the audio would pick it up so well here because I don't have a professional microphone at the moment. But I do have my shamanic drum that I helped make myself as well, actually. Ooh, there's a spider on it. Hello.
Oh, good luck.
Thank you.
I don't want to seem narcissistic. This is about me. It's not about me. But is there any possibility that was, I mean, I received that as if you were doing that for me, and meanwhile it was just a demonstration for the listeners. I'm not going to force you to answer that question, but
I mean, your energy I'm sharing right now, specifically. So. Yes.
So I mean, I hope that everybody got a really good taste of what and that's just a little snippet, of course. When you do a full session, it's truly an experience. But what I just got from what you just sampled, the hair on the back of my neck that I no longer need to shave, kind of stood up, and I got a whole tingling sensation that didn't stop from the time you started till the time you finished, all around my neck and even my face, I would say my beard and my neck is the areas that kind of I felt that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe that again, the neck is where a lot of tension is stored. Maybe that began to dissipate that already.
Yeah. Great. Wow.
But
Wow.
beautiful.
I'm glad. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. So everybody, this has been a wonderful, wonderful interview and personal visit with a friend. Maida's a personal friend of mine that I'm honored to call friend, sister. And MaidaMarigold.com is where you can reach her. And Maida, just from my heart, thank you so much for sharing of yourself, of your gift, and of your time and your presence here today. I'm sure that you will touch and reach many, many people with your gift, and hopefully many that are viewing our little conversation that we've had here today. Thank you, Maida, for sharing so much.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to share my story in your space as well. Thank you so much, Ryan.
My honor and my pleasure. And so in conclusion, I would like to remind everyone, as always, to abide in thankfulness for your highest good in the most benevolent outcome of the divine will.